Welcome to the Character Chronicles, the People Show. Check the Pulse of Rescue Nation, brought to you by DPS Concrete Construction, your local concrete experts. Check them out at dpsconstruction.net. And I love old school shirts like this. Great movie trilogy back in the day. But ladies and gentlemen, it's my turn to talk on this show. Now we're taking a mini break during this 8-part interview series that I've been doing. If you missed any of them, just interviewed Nebraska Governor Jim Pillen. Next up on the slate is Nebraska Offensive Coordinator Marcus Satterfield, followed by Larry the Cable Guy, and rounding out with one of the most popular Huskers of all time, Mr. Rex Burkhead. But you know, I was like, it's about that time where I should just take a stab in the dark, or my best educated guess that I can, and give a prediction of how many wins and losses Nebraska is going to have this year. And then we'll resume our interview series with offensive coordinator Marcus Satterfield in the next show. And if you missed any of the previous interviews, go back and check them out. But do me a favor. If you believe Nebraska's going to go to a bowl game this year, and you're excited about that idea, either one of those, smash that like button, and let's have a little bit of fun here today. Now, it's interesting. I looked up Nebraska's strength of schedule this year. This has not been one of the more difficult schedules we've had in recent memory. I will say this. Okay, I do believe that Northern Illinois, Louisiana Tech, we've got them at home, but they're not gimmies exactly either. There's some things that they could do that could potentially present problems early in the year, but I'll get to that. Don't want to get ahead of myself just yet. But I found it interesting because and it depends on which site you look at, just to be clear. Okay, I went to College Football News, and they ranked Nebraska's strength of schedule as the 15th most difficult schedule in the country, which actually kind of surprised me. I was like, that seems higher than I thought it would be. But you go to a couple other sites, and we're not even in the top 25. But I did find this interesting. College Football News ranked Purdue's schedule the toughest schedule in the country, and Colorado the second toughest schedule in the country. Oh, shed a tear. Okay. Now, I will say this. Just a couple of disclaimers. Okay. I did not come into this looking for a specific win-loss outcome. I didn't say, hey, I want the win-loss record at the end of this video to be 8-4, 9-3, 7-5, 4-8, whatever. I literally went game by game. Okay, and there's about a 5-game stretch here where I looked at it as a whole, and I was like, holy cow, I don't know. We're going to win some we shouldn't win, probably. We're going to lose some we shouldn't lose, probably. Hopefully not. But I went game by game by game, or stretch by stretch, and what I thought would happen over different stretches, and got a total at the end. Nothing about this was predetermined, or was I looking for a certain win-loss outcome. Also, I just want to define a successful season, in my opinion, for Matt Rule in his first year. And it's very simple. It couldn't be any more simple. It's go to a bowl game. Cut and dried, nothing more, nothing less. Let's light this candle. All right, I do believe, the defense is going to be ahead of the offense. Okay, that's typically the case early on in camp and early on in the season with football teams. Okay, but the defense is already ahead of the offense if you've been following camp at all. I believe the defense is going to be ahead of the offense. I do believe our offense is going to have to be a run-the-ball-first offense. Okay, we have a potential 3-headed monster in that backfield with Anthony Grant, Ramir Johnson, and Gabe Ervin. All right, we have a lot of talented receivers, but unproven outside of Billy Kemp. So we got to see who steps up and how quickly they do it. We have a physical phenom at quarterback. If you've seen Jeff Sims' size just compared to some of our linebackers, so to speak, and then his speed, but he's unproven as a consistent passer just yet in his college career. I do expect us to be more disciplined as a team. And initially in my notes, I had more physical, but it was almost kind of like we just have to be more physical than we've been the past few years, don't we? Just by default, don't we? Plus, Matt Rule's approach is going to be more physical, so hopefully we are more physical. And honestly, it's going to come down to the offensive line. It is, just like always. Okay, a tale as old as time, and we're going to find out. Maybe give him a year or two, but early on in year one, if Matt Rule keeping offensive line coach Donovan Raiola was the correct call. All right, the other thing that's going to determine how well we do this year is how quickly we do catch on to that 3-3-5 on the defensive side of the ball. But let's light this candle. Let's get into some games real quick before I do. CharacterChronicles.com, the website launched yesterday. I've been talking about it a ton, so I won't go into it in great deal in this video. CharacterChronicles.com, there's a whole plethora of stuff. Please go check it out. We've had great responses so far, so thank you for the kind words you find folks at home. Let's dive into the schedule. Let's light this candle. Let's have a little fun and try to pretend maybe I know what I'm talking about. Here we go, Minnesota. All right, they're a 7-point favorite as of right now. Obviously, that can fluctuate. That can change. The over-under is about 46.5. Well, it is 46.5, which is about 23.5 points per team, which seems about right. The way Minnesota plays, the way we've looked so far at camp. All right, Now, I'm going to go with Minnesota. I know, great start to the video. Click, I'm out. No, I'm as unbiased as I can be. Okay. PJ Fleck's going into his 7th year. He's coached over 70 Big Ten conference games, over 70 games at Minnesota, I should say. Matt Rule's first game, year 1. Okay, and I do reserve the right to change this prediction because I will do a prediction preview show with my kids sitting next to me as game week approaches and gets even closer. But until I feel a little bit better about our offense, I'm going to go with Minnesota at this point. And they do have a lot of talent over there, although I do think we can beat them, but that's my prediction for now. Colorado. Talk about starting from scratch. Coach Prime has kicked about 84,000 players out the door and brought in about 84,000 new players. All right. I also like that we're going to have extra time because our Minnesota game's on a Thursday night, extra time to prepare for this game. And if you've seen some of the pictures of Colorado's football players that they've been posting online of their own, they kind of look like a youth football team. So I'm going with Nebraska at this point. The next 2 games, Northern Illinois, Louisiana Tech. Again, I've got Nebraska winning those games at home, but we can't take those wins for granted. They're better than most people think, but I do think we are 3-1 going into the Michigan game. Michigan, as we all know, preseason Big Ten favorite, number 2 team in the country by most outlets, preseason outlets, because those preseason rankings matter so much. This is a home game. The last time we played them at home, it was electric. It was exciting. We took them down to the wire. Maybe we get the job done this time, but for right now, I have to predict Michigan at this point in time. So we're 3-2, heading into a 5-game stretch, and this is where I was like, I have no idea. Okay, because we should beat Illinois, but will we? We could beat Purdue, but they were in the Big Ten championship game last year. And Mel Tucker, is he finally going to earn his $80 billion a year that he's getting paid, or is he going to get fired because he's not living up to potential as a coach? Maryland improved over the past couple of years, but they're still Maryland. So, Northwestern. Okay, so our next 5 games are Illinois, Northwestern, Purdue, and Michigan State, Maryland. Northwestern's the one game I'm like, yeah, we better win that game. All right, I have us going 3-2 over these next 5 games. You look at Illinois, great defense and physical, but not overly talented. Again, Northwestern, we should definitely win. Purdue, Big Ten champs last year, but the toughest schedule in the country, and a first-year head coach. And again, Michigan State. Are they going to be Michigan State of a few years ago where they were very good, top 10 team in the country, won a New Year's Six bowl game, or Michigan State as of late, which has not been quite the same? And again, a Maryland team that's much improved, but they're still Maryland. My takeaway over this 5-game stretch was I predict we're going to go 3-2 because I think we're going to win games that maybe some people think that we shouldn't, and we're probably going to lose games that maybe we shouldn't because it's year 1 and there's a learning curve. I hope I'm wrong and we go 5-0, but I got us 3-2 over those next 5 games, and we were 3-2 going into those 5 games. So that puts us at 6-4 after our first 10 games going into Wisconsin. Now, Wisconsin's got a new head coach in Luke Fickell. They got a new spread offense they're trying to run. They have the second easiest schedule in the entire Big Ten. Okay, Penn State is ranked the easiest, and that's also why I have Penn State ahead of Ohio State in the Big Ten as a whole, but that's a topic for another day. I almost pulled the trigger on picking us to beat Wisconsin, but I didn't quite do it. I really wanted to. I have Wisconsin in a very close, hard-fought game that Nebraska just might win, but I just couldn't pull the trigger. But I did on this next game, Iowa, and I did it very quickly and easily, and I'll tell you why. Honestly, I didn't debate this much. I believe we win this game at home, Black Friday. Iowa may be in disarray at this point. They have to average 25 points a game to keep their offensive coordinator. Last year, they averaged 18 points per game, which was 117th in the country, and only 17 points their last 3 games, which made them about the worst Power 5 offense in the entire country. And I think in order for Brian Baby Ferentz to average 25 points a game to keep his job and remain Iowa and his dad's offensive coordinator, I think he's going to change who he is. And I think he's going to change their offensive identity and what's worked for them for years based on being Iowa and who they are. Now, the Michigan transfer and their quarterback, Cade McNamara, no disrespect, but I don't think he's the answer to this. And they don't have the athletes at wide receiver to be explosive. Okay? They may have an offensive identity crisis by this point in the season. Okay? And I'm not going to say I hope they don't, because I hope they do. All right? And we may be hitting our stride on offense at this point. I think that's very realistic by the last game or the end of the season. So I have us at home. I definitely pick Nebraska, which makes us 7-5 going to a bowl game. Okay? Now, honestly, nobody knows what will happen, including myself. This is my best, somewhat educated guess at a win-loss total for Nebraska. Matt Rule had 2 wins his first year at Temple, 1 year win his first year at Baylor, and then Sonny Dykes last year in his first year at TCU takes him to the national title game. I think we're obviously going to be somewhere in the middle. I think 7-5 is realistic. That's the most amount of wins we've had at Nebraska since 2016. It's 2023, ladies and gentlemen. Think about that. Maybe we go 8-4, 4-8, 6-6. Comment YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Comment below. What's your record prediction for Nebraska this year? Will Iowa average 25 points a game to keep their offensive coordinator? Do you want me to do a prediction show for Colorado's win-loss record this year? And will quarterback Jeff Sims be as good of a passer as he is runner by the end of the season? Let me know in the comments below. Go Big Red Nose. Remember, throw the bones. If you're a diesel mechanic, CDL driver, or concrete finisher looking for work in the Omaha metro area, DPS Construction is the employer for you. If you're a general contractor, building owner, or property manager looking for concrete repair or work done in the Omaha metro area, such as street paving, building floors, and parking lots, check out dpsconstruction.net.